Hello, welcome. How are you doing today? I hope you're doing well. Welcome, happy to have you. Today we're going to be talking about, that's right, branding your business. What that means, how to start the process, how to implement the process a little bit. We're going to break these steps down for you so it's super easy and super simple. And most importantly, we're going to teach you why it is so important to brand your business. I'll let you in on a secret. But you got to stay for the whole video. Why? Why do you want to go through this? Okay. All right. If you're new here, my name is Taylor Darcy from Think Legal, where I help businesses and people thrive. If you're joining me for the first time, I'm here most every day, not every day, but generally speaking at 11 a.m. right here, Pacific time. Please feel free to join me, ask questions. If you're not able to make the live, I totally understand that. Make sure to leave comments below, and I'm happy to answer them as I have time. I don't always have time right away. Be patient with me. If there's a topic you'd like me to discuss more about, feel free to reach out to me. I'm always interested in teaching more and helping other people learn about business and about finance and about law. So those are two things that I'm very passionate about. So please reach out and let me know what I can answer, what questions I can answer for you. Let's get started, shall we? All right. So glad to have you back. So, first thing you're going to want to do. Now, this kind of ties into lots of different things that I've talked about before, like your vivid vision, beginning with the end in mind. So, the very first step you're going to want to do is, what are your overarching goals? You need to get, I've said it once, I'll say it twice, I'll say it 1,000 times. Why? Because people forget this step or they ignore this step. That's most common what they do. They just think that they can start a business out of willy-nilly and not really do much about it. Like, they won't think about how they are going to brand their business or build their business. They just think, oh, it'll happen. The old Field of Dream reference, if you build it, they will come, most certainly does not apply, because just if you build it doesn't mean they will come. So building it is part of it. Branding it is the next part of it. When you think about branding, besides your goals, think about what type of emotion you want to evoke in your potential customers or clients. What is it that is going to make you unique and separate you from your competitors? For instance, FedEx, orange and blue, or whatever their color scheme is exactly, okay? UPS, brown, very different color schemes, okay? Very different. And I'm talking about these in abstract because I'm not gonna go into real details. Very different logos, very different color schemes, very different, but they provide similar, if not identical, services. Why would you pick FedEx over UPS? Do you like brown better than orange and blue? Do you like FedEx's logo with the arrow in it? I don't know. But I'm suggesting that it is a great way to differentiate yourself from other businesses that are in similar positions. What about the difference between them and USPS, right? United States Postal Service. They all perform very similar tasks, but branding-wise, they're very different, all of them. Okay, so the first thing you're going to do is establish your goals. What are your purposes? What are you trying to do? Again, this comes back to vivid vision, beginning with the end in mind. All of these things start with planning. Okay, so that's the first thing you're going to do is take stock of what it is that you're going to plan for. Now, you're going to want to outline the key qualities and benefits your brand offers. What makes you different? What makes you special? What makes you you? If everybody was the same, then it would be an incredibly boring world, right? So what about you makes your business different than someone else's? And how can you make those differences become your strengths? You know, one of the problems is that when we're in school, right, we're taught to fit in and sit down and pay attention and work within the box. And that's okay for school, right? But we're not talking about school right now. We're talking about how you can stand out amongst other people of competition, right? How do you compete with others? And I'll tell you something, branding is one of those key ways to do it. Branding is huge. Now, so you're going to want to outline those key qualities. And then, notice I didn't start with this. I want you to be very, very, very sure that the reason I didn't start with this is because this isn't as important as the first things. This is how you get to that thing. And this is create a brand logo and tagline. So what logo is going to convey your brand the best? I don't know. That's up to you. That's up to you and a graphic designer. My logo has a light bulb with a T and an L in it. Think legal. I love my logo. The Nike swoosh, the Reebok, lots of different logos like we were talking about, FedEx, McDonald's, all of them have logos that evoke an emotion. When you think of those brands, I don't have to tell you what they are. You know what they are. Amazon with their A to Z logo. Brilliant, right? Like, so when you're talking about taking your logo and putting it out there, what emotion do you want to convey to others through your logo? Trust, empathy, honesty, integrity, McDonald's consistency. These are all things that when you think of a logo, when you think of a brand, those are the things that you think of. All right. Next thing you're going to want to do is revisit who your customers are. Because the people that are going to McDonald's are not the same people as are going to Mr. A's or Ruth Chris Steakhouse or something of that nature. Now, they may go to different restaurants at different times, but the idea being that by creating this logo and this brand, you're going to attract the right type of client or customer, right? McDonald's, Amazon with the smile. There are differences between these for a reason, right? McDonald's, Jack in the Box, Burger King, they evoke a different image in your mind, and they help your customers find you and appreciate you for who they are, right? When I see McDonald's, I think, forgive me, but how many times have you go through drive-through and they mess up your order and you have to go back, or you call and complain, or you're frustrated about them, right? Like there should be 3 drive-through windows, one to pay, one to get your order, and one to exchange it for the things that they should have done right in the first place. All right. The next thing is research your competitor brands within your industry. What is it that they do? How can you be different? And how can you be better? Okay? You don't have to be everything to all people. Not every person that comes in your door is going to be a good fit client. Right fit client. Sometimes you've got to say no. Because sometimes it's going to prepare you for the times that you get to say yes. Okay? But by researching your competitors in your industry, you can get a better idea of what it is that you're looking to convey and do with your brand. Because your brand is not just...
Your brand is not just your logo.
Okay. I want to be clear on that one. Your brand is not just your logo. Your brand is how you do things all the time. For instance, If you buy a high-end luxury good, your expectations of that luxury good are different than something that's cheap. If you buy something at the 99-cent store, you're not expecting much. But if you're spending thousands of dollars on something, you're expecting a better thing than the $100 thing, right? So what is it that you're going to do within your brand to convey that? What nice little extra touches are you going to do? All right, so that's why you've got to research your competitors in your industry so that you understand where you can differentiate yourself. Okay, next thing. You know, people say websites are dead. I don't agree. I think that's a stupid way of doing it. Like, legit, so dumb. And the reason why is because what's the first thing that you do? It may not sell people on you, but if you don't have a website, people are going to think you're sketchy. It's become standard. Like, that's the bare minimum. And part of that is you need your branding to match your website, right? You need it to match that look and that feel. Because part of the reason that you're doing for branding, one of the reasons you're doing for branding, is to increase your know, like, and trust factor. People trust brands more than they trust people. They feel more confident using a brand rather than people, because they feel like that brand is going to be around longer than the people will. Because let's face it, the creators of Nike, the creators of Apple, people die. But we've got Apple products that are still existing today, right? Like, so if you're creating a brand, you need to start with that end in mind. Like, what is it that you're doing? Because that brand is going to have people trusting you, liking, and trusting you for a long time to come. The key is that you want to create a good, positive brand, right? Versus, for instance, Theranos, I think, is the name of the company. I think her name was Elizabeth something. Anyway, point is or WeWork, some of these other brands that are out there that have trouble, it's because they didn't stay true to their branding, or they thought they could do things that they shouldn't have done, right? Like, that's another story. All right, so improving your site visibility in search results. Branded search is so dang cheap. Like, when people are looking for Think Legal, it's like pennies to market to people that are looking for Think Legal, as opposed to San Diego Law Firm, San Diego Business Attorney. Those are a lot more expensive links to pay for. So you've got to think about that. Branded search is a great way to think about saving money, right? Wouldn't you rather be, because people are looking for Think Legal rather than Taylor Darcy Attorney or Apple, IBM, whatever it is that you're looking for, right? You're looking for them specifically rather than, so there's a lot more consistency that goes with that. So improving your site's visibility in search results. The next thing is be true to your brand. If your brand is designed, if you're thinking Hermes, then you've got to be true to that. If you're looking for high-end clients, right, you need to be true to your brand. Take those high-end clients. If you're going to go for medium of the road, if you're going to go for Walmart clients, I'm not judging you. I'm not saying that's a bad thing. I'm saying you need to be consistent with that. People that shop Walmart, again, no judging here. Walmart's Walmart, Target's Target, right? But they're different price points. They appeal to different audiences. So who are you going to appeal to? But part of that is being true to your brand. If you're going to be the low price leader, you got to be the low price leader. Whatever you're doing. If you're going to be a luxury brand, you've got to be that luxury brand. You've got to be Hermes. You've got to be Louis Vuitton. Whatever it is, right? Like you've got to be true to that brand. Whatever you're doing with that. Next thing, build your brand digitally with multi-channel marketing. What does that mean? That means you're everywhere. You're on Instagram, you're on Facebook, you're on Twitter, you're on LinkedIn, you're on YouTube. You're on every possible place that you can be with your brand intact. Okay? Don't deviate from your brand. Because the only way you build it The only way you build it is by people getting to know you, like you, and trust you. And that's the importance of social media. But you want to be everywhere as you can be. Now, if your people aren't on Snapchat, I mean, if you're on TikTok, great. But if they're not on Snapchat, don't be on Snapchat. Nobody says you have to be. Like, yes, TikTok has a lot of benefit to it, but it's not the end-all, be-all of everything. It has a very low retention rate, unfortunately. YouTube actually is a higher retention rate than, I'm not just saying that because I'm on here, but TikTok is great, but it's not where everybody should be necessarily. Depends on what you're doing. Again, comes back to brand. All right, next thing. You're going to want to create branded content. Everything you should do involves your brand. Everything, logo everywhere, logo and tagline should be everywhere. Everything you do should involve that brand. Remember, everything is about building that know, like, and trust with your audience, with your client, with whomever it is. But you have to create that content. You have to do it. So everything should show your logo. Everything should show your name. Everything should show who you are as a business, what it is you stand for. All of these things should remain consistent regardless of what you're doing, okay, where you're posting. You'll have a lot more success that way. The next thing that you're going to want to do is developing a brand style guide. And this just means like coloring, font, and you got to narrow this down. Again, all of these things are meant to establish emotion. What type of emotion are you going to evoke in people when they see your brand? So coloring is very important, okay? There's actually a color style guide that you can do. Font choice is very important. Think about these things as you're designing your logo, as you're designing your brand. What is it? Be very specific about what type of emotion that you're going to want to do. Do research on fonts, like what a font means, sans serif, serif, so on and so forth. Like, just be very specific about your intention, because when you're specific with your intention and you evoke a certain emotion with your branding, then others will be drawn to you. For instance, Howard Stern, Rush Limbaugh, Alex Jones. That's a good one. Let's see, who else? A lot of different personalities out there. Those names all evoke a certain emotion, right? Like when I said those things to you, you went, whoa. 9 Inch Nails, Marilyn Manson, right? They evoke either you're into that or you're not into that, and you like it or you hate it. Like, there doesn't seem to be much in between in these types of people. You either like Howard Stern or you hate Howard Stern. You like Alex Jones or you don't like Alex Jones. All of these people evoke emotion. That's what you want to do with your logo, is evoke emotion, powerful, strong emotion, because people will be drawn to that. Despite the crazy factor, Alex Jones has thousands, probably maybe even millions of followers, okay? Same thing goes with a lot of people in government, in like Steve Wozniak. People are drawn to who they have an emotional connection with. And that begins with your branding, right? There's nothing wrong with the term Joe's Plumbing. The problem is that doesn't evoke much of an emotion. I don't know Joe. I know plumbing. I know I don't want to hire a plumber, right? Like, I don't want the expense of hiring a plumber unless I'm building a house, right? But so that's why Joe's Plumbing isn't a great opportunity to brand. You can brand it. There's all sorts of ways you can do that. I'm not saying you can't, but the difference between Joe's Plumbing versus Rescue Rooter, there's a difference there, right? Like, when you're thinking about this evoking emotion, Rescue Rooter, oh, yes, I don't want to call a plumber, but who am I going to call? The Rescue Rooter, right? Like, especially if I don't have an established relationship with Joe. If I have an established relationship with Joe's Plumbing, then yeah, I'm going to call him because I've already established that emotion. But we're talking about the people that need to establish a relationship with your brand or your business. You need to do it in such a way that Rescue Rooter, oh yeah, I'm in trouble. My pipe broke, right? I've got a slab leak, whatever it is that's the issue, right? Oh, I can be rescued. Here's a plumber. perfect, rescue rooter, right? That's the emotion that they're going for to save you from the problem that you had. Versus, what if Joe's Plumbing only does house installs, right? They're doing a plumbing job from top to bottom. Okay, that's very different than rescue rooter, but you don't know that unless you know Joe. So that's why it's so important to create a brand in that respect, and developing a brand style guide to invoke these emotions that you want other people to see and feel when they are thinking about calling an attorney, buying a phone, buying a computer, whatever it is that you're looking to do, a service, a product, whatever it is you're trying to do. Branded always wins because the emotion that it evokes with you. Because if you're talking about two identical products and there's a trust factor that goes with it, you're going to pick the one that you trust the most. And that means something you know, or that it looks like something you know, right? You're going to associate positive feelings with that. All right. You're going to want to integrate your brand. Integrating your brand is a little more complicated. You're going to want to integrate that brand with other types of opportunities and places. You're going to want to put that brand everywhere. You're going to want to have it on billboards and print media. Those aren't dead. Are they less effective? Yeah, but there's opportunities there as well. So you're going to want to integrate your brand. You're going to want to make sure that your colors, your theme, your everything is consistent throughout everything you touch. Now, I'm not suggesting I'm perfect in this. I'm developing all of these things. I'm working on themes, a theme build for this. I'm for my live streams. I'm working on a theme for my website. All of these things are all stuff that I'm working on to integrate my brand into everything I do. I've got the color. I've got the brand style guide. I've got everything else that's ready to go. It's just these last few puzzle pieces. Don't let the enemy of great is perfect, right? Like, you don't try to be perfect. Iterate. Start now, do little things. Start with the font, start with the color, start with the name, start with all of these different things that you're going to pick to evoke those emotions that I'm going to tell you. Now, I saved the best for last. And if you've stayed this long, thank you so much for staying this long. Why do you want to create a brand? Because it's worth more money. Straight up. A brand has more value than you do. And I'm not saying that you're not a valuable person. I'm saying, like, when you pass away or when you pass on this business to somebody else, if you've built a brand over time, it will have more value than just if it's your business by yourself. So that's why you want to build a brand. Because if you've got your son or daughter that's taking over the business, or another person that's taking over the business, guess what? They don't have to worry about building a brand. They don't have to worry about Taylor Darcy attorney. All they have to do is worry about Think Legal. That's a lot easier to take care of because I've established a brand than it is to try to redo everything under a new attorney name. And the same thing goes for Nike, for Reebok. It's a lot easier to do that. But I want to caution you. While building a brand is paramount to a successful business, like I think it's one of the very, very most important things you can do for a successful business. Please know that it is a longer process. Building a brand is longer than starting with yourself. So you won't have quite the same amount of wins in the beginning as you will if it's just you. And the reason is simple, because people already know, like, and trust you. They don't have to get to know, like, and trust you, right? But when you're building a brand, you're a new brand. You're a new person. You're a new everything. So you still have to build that know, like, and trust with people that don't know you. Now, that's true in other instances as well. But just keep in mind that the know, like, and trust factor is the overall purpose of building a brand that can sustain you for the long term. So keep that thought in mind, that it will take time. Don't be impatient. Just because it isn't instantaneous, you're not going to be a star or a successful business overnight. That's just not how it works. So you need to start developing it in the early stages of your business. And as always, if things aren't working, tweak it, fix it, keep trying different things until it works. Just because it doesn't work today doesn't mean it won't work tomorrow or the next day or the next day. So be patient with yourself. Be patient with others. because things often take longer than you'd hope and cost more than you want. So please keep those thoughts in mind as you're building your business. If you've gotten value out of this video, don't forget to hit subscribe and like, and we'll see you later. Take care.